Good evening. It's nearly time for bed. Well, it's time for bed for me, but gotta get this out just to keep you all updated on what happened today. We had 4 games today, and like I said, that France-Australia game was at 5 in the morning. I did not wake up for it. I heard there were a couple incidents using VAR, which I'm sure you could probably go over regardless. I think it wasn't too controversial. I think everything went as planned. And in the end, France got the victory. It was 2-1 to France. They'll keep cruising. The match I did get up for was Argentina-Iceland, which was, I don't know why people were surprised that Iceland did so well against Argentina. Argentina are, the favorites of Group D, but I personally think Iceland could definitely slip into that second spot, depending on how well they deal with Croatia. But yeah, Argentina, they scored first, and then Iceland responded a few minutes later, and it remained 1-1 due to the tenacity of the Icelandic defense, and Argentina just couldn't find a way through, but neither could, Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo in 2016 in the Euro Championship. So there's a stat sheet going around where Cristiano Ronaldo had like 10 shots on goal, and Messi had, 11, or I think it was 12 and 13. Regardless, they didn't. Neither of them scored a goal. I guess technically, Lionel Messi, he missed a penalty, so that could be the talking point, and it will be. He's notoriously, well, not notoriously, he does pretty well with penalties, but he's struggled recently when he takes them, and I think, penalties ultimately are, they're mental. So he struggled, he missed a penalty, but the goalkeeper did jump the right way, and ultimately, if that happens, you miss. But if the goalkeeper goes the other way, then we're not talking about Messi's problem with penalties. Regardless, it doesn't harm either. I knew, or at least I called this Argentina-Iceland being a draw. It ended up being a draw. I'm fine with it because I want both teams to succeed. Moving on to the third game of the day, it was Peru, their first World Cup game in 36 years, versus Denmark. It was a very testy affair up until, I think, maybe early on in the second half. Let's check when it was scored. And the goal was scored 59, yeah. So first half was very testy, and then the second half got underway, and Denmark found one mistake. They scored their goal, and Peru, despite having several shots and attempts, couldn't find a way through. And interestingly enough, the guy that they got to the World Cup, with the lawsuits and everything, he didn't start the game, which I think the analyst kind of disagreed with. I don't know why they wouldn't have put him in just because, at the beginning, just because, he's a proven goal scorer despite his age, and he's also their leader, and, it's their first World Cup game. You need somebody to say, look, I know, we've been here, but, we haven't been here since, none of us were alive, but, it's just a game of football and playing and trying to rally the troops type of thing. That's how I would have played it as a manager, but they didn't. They lost, and now it's going to be very hard for them in the next 2 games, because Peru, they don't have any points, but they're going to have to beat Australia and draw France and hope that Denmark don't find another 3 points somewhere, and hope that their goal difference works in their favor. But I don't know. We'll see. It's a steep hill for Peru. They're throwing out stats on Fox Sports about there's like 7 of 60 teams that lost their first game went on to qualify, or went on to the next round of 16. So it's a very steep hill compared to, I think it was 51 of 60 teams who had won their first game advanced. So I guess fun fact though, Spain, who won in the whole World Cup in 2010, they lost their first game, though I think they lost it only 1-0. You can look it up on Wikipedia or whatever, if you want to check me. I looked it up yesterday, so I wouldn't do that. Don't test me. But yeah, so I think they lost 1-0, which isn't terrible to lose to, and then they were able to qualify and eventually win the tournament. So good for them, but I don't see Peru really doing that. I think it'll be a tough battle for anybody. And France is definitely that game you have to look for to get a point, and hopefully maybe get 3 points, but we'll just have to see. The final match of the day was Croatia and Nigeria. Nigeria, interestingly enough, not sporting their lauded over jerseys. You should look those up. The green ones, they're pretty gaudy. They're kind of nice. I like them. They're interesting. But they weren't wearing them. Croatia wearing their standard checkerboard picnic table jerseys, got the job done. Scored, I think, a goal in the first half, and then scored a goal in the second half. They kind of were. It wasn't pretty, and Nigeria had several chances, but they just couldn't put them away, and Croatia got the job done. So, as far as standings go, at the end of the day, all of Group C and D went, so France is sitting atop Group C with 3 points, and they're in the lead on goals for with 2 compared to Denmark. Their goal differential is the same, but Denmark still has 3 points. Australia, then Peru is third and fourth because Australia actually scored a goal. So Group D, we've got Croatia and then Argentina, followed by Iceland and then Nigeria. Argentina and Iceland only separated by the alphabet, Argentina being first because A comes before I, and Nigeria are down 2 goals and are going to have to, somehow find a way to get through the Icelandic defense when the Argentinian attack couldn't do so, as well as dealing with Argentina. So Nigeria has a steep hill to climb. I don't think they'll get through. So it's now going to probably come down to Iceland versus Croatia unless Argentina really messes up, which would be tragic. Moving on to tomorrow, I believe we've got we have 3 games tomorrow. First game at 7 a.m. is Costa Rica versus Serbia. It's an okay game. I guess if you're for either of those teams, go for it. After that, Group F, we've got Germany and Mexico. That's the game I'm going to want to pay attention to. I'd like Germany to lose. I'd like Mexico to lose. I wouldn't want to see either of them succeed, really. Maybe a little bit more for Mexico just because they're in the same confederation as the U.S., so it'll make us look better. Additionally, I'd like to see Mexico get to their 5th game just to see that narrative done and play through. We'll see. I don't know what will happen. And then the quote-unquote marquee match is going to be Brazil versus Switzerland, which will probably be interesting to see the stars of Brazil struggle against Switzerland, and maybe Switzerland pulls an upset. I don't know. We'll see. But that would also be a decent game to watch. So take your pick. I'm watching the second one, and depending on homework and everything else, I'll probably watch the third one. But yeah, that's it for June 16th. We'll see you tomorrow to recap what happened during the games, and we just keep on rolling. So take care, and I'll catch you tomorrow.